If you're cruising on P&O Iona, one of the biggest questions is what the food is actually like, what's included, and where you should be eating throughout your cruise. In this video, I'll take you through every dining option on Iona, from breakfast through to late-night snacks. On Iona, you've actually got 6 different breakfast options, which means you're not just limited to the buffet every morning. 3 of these are included: the main dining rooms, the Quays, and the Horizon buffet. And then there are 3 paid options, which are room service, Keel and Cow, and the Epicurean. I'll show you the menus for each of these as we go through, and I've also put together a full set of Iona dining menus in a PDF. The link is in the description. If you prefer a sit-down breakfast with table service, then the main dining rooms are the place to go. On Iona, 3 are open for breakfast each day: Coral on deck 7 and Pearl and Aqua on deck 6. On a port day, Pearl is open from 7:30 to 9, while Coral and Aqua run from 7:30 to 9:30. On a sea day, all 3 are open from 8 to 10. You can book a time in advance on the My Holiday app if you want a specific slot, but most people just turn up and wait to be seated. In practice, it's usually quite quick, and I never had any long waits. Once you're seated, you order from the menu, and everything is brought to you. You'll find the usual options here: full English breakfast, eggs cooked different ways, pastries, fruit, yogurt. It's the same breakfast menu you'll find across the P&O fleet. The Horizon buffet is the other main breakfast option, and this is where a lot of people will naturally head, especially on the first morning. It's open from 6:30 through to 11 on both port days and sea days, so it gives you the most flexibility. The space itself is large, with multiple food stations across both sides, and the layout is mirrored, so you'll often find the same stations repeated on each side. As you move around, you'll find cooked breakfast items like bacon, sausages, eggs, hash browns and beans, along with pastries, toast, cereals, fruit, and yogurt. There are also self-service drink stations throughout, with tea, coffee, water, and juice. There's plenty of seating available, but the food stations themselves can get very busy, especially on sea days or later in the morning. So it's convenient, but it's also the busiest breakfast option on board. The Quays is another really good option for breakfast, and it's open from 7:30 to 10 on a port day, and until 10:30 on a sea day. Instead of one buffet, it's split into 3 different food stations. Hook, Line and Vinegar serves pancakes and waffles. Asian Fusion does omelets, scrambled eggs and eggs cooked your way. And the Boardwalk Diner serves a full English breakfast just around the corner. You'll also find pastries, yogurt, fruit, smoothies, and drinks. It does get busy, but it's generally less hectic than the buffet, and it's a good option if you want something quick but with a bit more structure. It's also a popular choice with families, especially for the pancakes and waffles. There are also 3 paid breakfast options on board. Room service is continental only, with pastries, fruit, cereal, and drinks. You fill in the order form the night before and hang it on your cabin door, and it costs £2.50 for delivery. It's a simple option if you want breakfast in your cabin, especially on a sea day morning. You've also got the Keel and Cow as another paid breakfast option, and the Keel and Cow is open from 7:30 to 9:30 on a port day, and from 8 to 10 on a sea day. This is a more elevated breakfast option in a relaxed atmosphere. You can book it on the My Holiday app, or join the virtual queue when it opens. And then there's the Epicurean. A lot of people think this is only for guests staying in a suite, but on Iona you can have breakfast here for £8.50 per person. It's generally open from 7:30 through to 10 in the morning. It's a quieter, calmer setting, so it's another option if you want something a bit different from the main dining rooms or buffet. Lunch on Iona is where things become a lot more flexible, and you've got 5 included options to choose from depending on what your day looks like. If you prefer a quieter, sit-down lunch, the main dining room is one of the easiest places to go. Unlike some cruise lines, the main dining rooms are open for lunch on both port days and sea days. On a port day, Pearl Restaurant is open, and on a sea day, both Coral and Pearl are open, typically from 12 to 2. You can book in advance on the My Holiday app if you want a set time, join the virtual queue, or just turn up and wait to be seated. In practice, lunch here is usually very quiet, so it's one of the easiest places to get a table without much of a wait. This is a 3-course lunch, so it's a more traditional dining experience with starters, main courses, and desserts, and it's a good option if you want something a bit more relaxed away from the busier areas of the ship. The Horizon Buffet is open from 12 through to 5 on both port days and sea days, so it gives you the most flexibility if you're eating at different times during the afternoon. You'll find a mix of hot dishes, salads, sandwiches, and lighter options, but the layout is quite repetitive, with the same food stations on each side. Compared to some other cruise lines like Princess Cruises, the choice here can feel more limited. Taste 360 in the Skydome is another very popular option for lunch, and this is one that tends to work well at any time of day. It's open from 11:30 through to 9 in the evening, so you're not restricted to traditional lunch times. You'll find burgers, pizza, hot dogs, fries, a small salad bar, and usually a dish of the day as well. Because it's located in the Skydome, it's particularly popular with families, and while there can be queues, they tend to move quickly, and there's always food available. The Quays is open from 12 through to 9:30 in the evening, and this is one of the most versatile lunch options on board. Hook, Line and Vinegar serves fish and chips, and this menu stays the same throughout the day, so you'll always find fish and chips and sides available here. Asian Fusion and the Boardwalk Diner are slightly different, as their menus rotate. At Asian Fusion, you'll typically find noodle dishes, rice dishes, and curries. The Boardwalk Diner is more classic comfort food like burgers and chicken, and again, the menu rotates. There's also an outdoor seating area just outside, which works well on a sunny day. One option that a lot of people don't realize is available is the Olive Grove. It's open from 12 through to 9:30 in the evening, and it uses the same menu as dinner. It does need to be booked, and one thing to be aware of is that it often gets booked up quickly early in the cruise, as people reserve multiple meals there when they first get on board. The Olive Grove is a Mediterranean-style restaurant, so you'll find dishes inspired by places like Italy, Spain, and Greece. That includes things like pasta dishes, grilled meats, salads, and sharing-style plates. Availability does open up later in the week, so it's worth checking the My Holiday app regularly, or speaking to the maitre d', who can sometimes find availability across the rest of your cruise. I actually went here for a late lunch after a port day, and it worked well as a quieter, more relaxed option away from the busier areas of the ship. The Glass House is also open for lunch, and this is one of the paid options on board. It's open from 12 through to 9:30 in the evening, using the same menu at lunch and dinner. The food here is more small plates, seafood, steaks, and dishes designed to pair with wine. There are also a few additional options outside of the main lunch venues. Between 3 and 5, the Horizon Buffet serves afternoon snacks, so if you've missed the main lunch window, there's still something available. On sea days, the Epicurean also offers afternoon tea, which is a separate paid experience. And if you're looking for something lighter, you'll find ice cream at Sundays, in the Skydome, and Ripples on Deck 8, both at an extra cost, with Ripples also offering an ice cream afternoon tea, which is quite substantial and easily enough for several people to share. You'll also find cakes and pastries available at Vistas, which is a good option if you just want something small with a coffee rather than a full meal. Dinner on Iona is where you've got the most choice, and this is where understanding how it works makes the biggest difference. The main dining rooms are where most people eat in the evening on Iona. There are 4 of them: Coral on Deck 7, and Aqua, Opal, and Pearl on Deck 6, and they all serve exactly the same menu each evening. All 4 restaurants are open from 5:30 through to 9:30. Iona operates on an anytime dining system, so there are no fixed dining times. You can book early slots before 6 on the My Holiday app once you're on board, but these tend to get booked up quickly. Most people use the virtual queue, which opens at 6. A simple way to do it is to join the queue as you're getting ready, or just leaving your cabin, then head somewhere for a drink while you wait. In practice, I never waited more than about half an hour, even on celebration night. You can also choose whether you'd prefer your own table or are happy to share. If you don't want to use the app, you can turn up at the restaurant and you'll be given a pager instead. Just one thing to be aware of if you're using the virtual queue: don't close the web page, as you'll lose your place in the queue. On celebration night, which is the formal or black tie evening on board, the main dining rooms offer a slightly more elevated menu. This is one of the busiest evenings of the cruise, so it's worth joining the virtual queue early or booking an early slot if you can. Another included option for dinner is the Olive Grove. As with lunch, it's open from 12 through to 9:30 in the evening and uses the same Mediterranean-style menu. It does need to be booked, and like at lunch, it can fill up early in the cruise, although availability can open up later if you keep checking the app or speak to the maitre d'. The Horizon Buffet is also open for dinner from 6 to 9:30. It works in the same way as breakfast and lunch, with mirrored stations and a range of hot and cold dishes, so it's a more flexible option if you don't want to wait for a table in the dining rooms. The buffet also serves late-night snacks from 9:30 through to 1:15, so it's one of the few places where you can still get food later in the evening. The Quays is also open in the evening, and it works in a very similar way to lunch. It keeps the same 3 stations, with hook, line and vinegar serving fish and chips, and the other 2 rotating their menus. Taste 360 in the Sky Dome is also open through the evening, and again this runs in the same way as it does at lunch. You'll find burgers, pizza, hot dogs, fries, a small salad bar and a dish of the day. Because it's open right through until 9 in the evening, it gives you a lot of flexibility if you don't want to eat at a set time, and it's a popular option, especially with families. One option that not many people realize is available is the chef's table on celebration night. This takes place in part of the Horizon Buffet, where the beach house area normally is, and it's transformed into a separate dining space for the evening. You get the same menu as the main dining rooms, but in a slightly different setting, and it's included. You do need to book this once you're on board, so it's worth checking the My Holiday app early if it's something you'd like to try. If you're traveling with children, there are a few things to know that make dining on Iona quite flexible. In the Horizon Buffet, there's a children's tea between 5 and 5:45. This is designed for families heading to the Reef Kids Club later in the evening, and it gives you an earlier option before the main dinner service starts across the ship. In the main dining rooms, there's also a dedicated children's menu available. They can choose from either the main dining room menu or the children's menu, and you can mix and match between the two. And this also works if you're thinking about trying one of the specialty dining restaurants. If your children don't want anything from the menu there, they can still order from the main dining room children's menu at no extra cost. You would just pay for the adult meals. If you're planning to try any of the specialty dining restaurants on Iona, it's worth deciding early in your cruise when you want to go. If you've got a specific day in mind, especially a sea day or celebration night, you'll need to book in advance, as these restaurants do fill up quickly. The Epicurean is the fine dining restaurant on Iona. This is the most formal of the specialty venues, with a quieter setting and a multi-course menu. When you arrive, you're seated, and the meal is more structured than the main dining rooms, with courses served over a longer period of time. It's typically somewhere people choose for one evening of their cruise, rather than somewhere you'd go multiple times. Sindhu is the Indian restaurant on board, and this is one of the more popular specialty options. The menu focuses on curries, tandoori dishes, and breads, so it's quite different from what you'll find in the main dining rooms. It's also one of the restaurants that people tend to book early in the cruise, so if it's something you want to try, it's worth checking availability as soon as you get on board. The beach house is a more relaxed option, and this is located within part of the Horizon buffet in the evenings. During the day, this area is part of the buffet, but in the evening it's turned into a sit-down restaurant with table service. The menu is Caribbean and Tex-Mex style, with things like fajitas, grilled meats and sharing dishes, so it's quite different from the rest of the ship. Because of the setting, it feels less formal than the other specialty restaurants, and it works well if you want something a bit more relaxed in the evening. The Limelight Club is slightly different from the other venues, as this combines dinner with a live performance. You'll have a 3-course meal while watching a guest entertainer, so it's more of an evening event rather than just somewhere to eat. Because of that, it's worth checking who the performer is during your cruise before booking. The Glass House is open for both lunch and dinner, and uses the same menu throughout the day. The food here is more small plates, seafood and dishes designed to be paired with wine, so it's slightly different from a traditional 3-course meal. Keel Cow is more of a steakhouse and grill-style restaurant. You'll find burgers, steaks, and classic grill options here, and because it's located in the atrium, it tends to feel a bit busier compared to some of the other venues. And one other paid option that's worth knowing about, although it's not a specialty restaurant, is room service. This is available throughout the day and evening, with a menu that includes light bites, snacks, and a small selection of meals. I've also linked a PDF with all of the Iona dining menus in the description if you want to look through everything in more detail. So that's how dining works on P&O Iona, and how to use each of the options across your cruise. But once you've got food sorted, the next thing most people start thinking about is everything else they need to know before they go. So next, you'll want to watch my video on the 10 things you need to know before you cruise on Iona.